What's good, sweats? Welcome to the channel. Whether you're brand new to World of Warcraft or just dipping your toes into the world of Balance Druid, aka Boomkin, you're in the right place. In this video, we're breaking down everything you need to know on how to get started in patch 11.5 Season 2 of the War Within. So let's talk Balance Druid. This spec is an awesome mix of simplicity and depth. It's super approachable if you're new to the game, but still has enough mechanics to keep things interesting, even if you're a seasoned vet. The rotation feels smooth and satisfying once you get into the groove, and you'll be tossing out starfalls and dots like a celestial storm in no time. Balance Druids really shine in fights with multiple enemies, thanks to their ability to apply dots, damage over time spells, to everything around them. They become a powerhouse in multi-target situations. Now that being said, it's not exactly instant fireworks and damage. Boomkin damage takes a bit of ramp up time, so if your group needs quick burst damage, this is where things can feel a little bit slower. On single target bosses, Balance Druids can feel a little weaker. The damage output is steady and the burst is quite insane, but it's not earth-shattering overall. The rotation is simpler here, which can actually be a plus when you're learning the ropes. It's mostly about generating astral power and spending it wisely. Oh, and cycling through Eclipse, which is your core damage window. Keeping track of that is what's key to getting the most out of your kit. Now, some of the strengths and weaknesses. So the strengths, it's great in hybrid and multi-target encounters, it's beginner-friendly rotation but still rewards skill, so it has a high skill ceiling, and it has fantastic utility, heals, crowd control, you name it. It's excellent at spreading damage across many enemies. Now with strengths comes weaknesses. It needs some setup time in AoE fights, meaning there's hardly any burst and it needs a lot of ramp. It can struggle when you're forced to move a lot, and certain boss mechanics can be a bit punishing for boomies, considering we don't have too many defensives, and you don't want to constantly go in and out of bear form to soak damage. And then its single target damage isn't the strongest. Great burst, but it's not very steady. So if you're looking for a ranged DPS class that's decently fun, flashy, and full of cosmic and nature vibes, Balance Druid might be your next main. Stick around and I'll walk you through the talents, rotation, stats, gear, everything else you need to kick off your Boomkin journey. With the most recent patch drop in 11.1.5, Boomkin has actually had a few buffs. So all spell damage is increased by 3%, Star Surge and the power of Goldrin damage increased by 3%, Starfall damage reduced by 10%, Boundless Moon Knight received 10% nerfs to both Fury of Elune and New Moon components. These are just a few changes. Boomy remains one of the strongest classes in Mythic Plus and holds a decent position in raiding. The first segment is always a quick segment, and first up is our stat priority. Now, Boomkins remain the same in Mythic Plus and in raiding, and that is Intellect will always be king, then it's Mastery, then Haste, then Crit, then Verse. We're looking to stack around 23k Mastery, about 15 to 16k Haste. Crit is good around 3 to 4k, and Verse between 1 to 2k. So aim for that and you should be good. So as this is a beginner guide, I want to explain some of the stats and what they mean. So first up we have Intellect. This is your bread and butter. Its Intellect is your main stat and you'll want it on every single upgrade. More Intellect means more spell power, and more spell power means everything you cast hits harder. It's as simple as that. Next up, Mastery. Mastery is your go-to secondary stat. It boosts the damage of your nature and arcane spells, and it gets even better when your targets are affected by Sunfire or Moonfire. And spoiler, they usually always are. So Mastery equals big value. Then there's Haste. So Haste speeds up your casting and helps you generate astral power faster, meaning more Starfalls, more Star Surges. If you like a fast-paced, snappy rotation, stacking a bit of Haste will definitely feel good. Then Critical Strike. Crit does exactly what it sounds like. It makes your spells hit really hard when they crit, but keep in mind it's a bit of a gamble. Some fights it'll pop off, others not so much. It's solid but less predictable than something like Mastery or Haste. And finally, Versatility. Verse is a jack of all trades stat. It boosts your damage and healing, and it also reduces the damage you take. It doesn't always top the charts for raw damage output, but in tougher content like raid progression or high Mythic Plus, the extra survivability can be a lifesaver. So a quick recap: Intellect, Mastery, Haste, Crit, then Verse. Though do remember, this can shift a little depending on your gear and talents and what type of content you're doing, so if you want to make sure, always head to raid bots and sim your character. Up next, arguably one of the most important sections, the talents of choice. So I'm going to be giving you some raid talents that work in Liberation of the Undermine and a set of Mythic Plus talents that I use for majority of my dungeons. Now, up first are the raid talents. As you can see, this is what I use for Rick, Reverb, Mythic, but it gives you some single target and some AoE, as a lot of the bosses are like that. In the left side, we have the Druid overall tree, and in row 1, we're starting with Frenzied Regeneration and Starfire. Starfire is a primary ability. You need this no matter what. In row 2, we're going Ursoc Spirit and Star Surge. Again, another primary ability. You're going to need this. Then in row 3, we have Verdant Heart, Remove Corruption, and Moonkin form. Obviously, while being in Moonkin form, that's the whole point of the spec. You need this. Then we have in row 4, Iron Fur, Improved Bark Skin. See, a lot of these are just defensives. Then we have Nurturing Instinct, 2 points. And again, Sunfire, another primary ability that you're going to need when playing Balance. Then in row 5, we have Thick Hide, Natural Recovery, and Astral Influence. Then in row 6, we're taking Wild Charge. This gives you like a jump step back, while in Moonkin form, it's great for dodging abilities. Then we have Soothe. Then we have Renewal, which is a big heal, immediate heal. Then we have Starlight Conduit. In row 7, we have Feline Swiftness, we have Well-Honed Instincts, and Stampeding Roar, which is an ability that gives everyone in your group movement speed, great for moving around, a good utility spell. Then we have Lingering Healing, Typhoon, which is like a knockback, and then Ursul's Vortex. Then we have Oak Skin, 2 points into Lycara's Teachings, and Law of the Grove. Then we have Innovate, which you can put on a healer to give them some immediate casting without spending mana. Then in row 9, we have Circle of Heavens. Then we have Lycara's Meditation. And finally, we have Fluid Form and Nature's Vigil, which when pressed, it allows you to heal off some of your single target damage. On the right side of the tree, we have the balance only talents, starting with, of course, Eclipse. This is how Boomkin works, so obviously we go straight into this. In row 2, we're going Shooting Stars and Solar Beam. Solar Beam is your interrupt for this class. If you've played any other classes, you know you can interrupt spells. This one is an AoE interrupt, hence the longer cooldown. Then in row 3, we're going Solstice. We're going Force of Nature and Twin Moons. In row 4, we are going Wild Surges and Nature's Grace. In row 5, we are taking Astral Smolder and Celestial Alignment. One of your major CDs going to be used at the start of a fight to absolutely burst that damage out. Then in row 6, we are taking Sunseeker Mushroom, Stellar Amplification, and Whirling Stars, and finally Touch of Cosmos. In row 7, we are taking 2 points into Cosmic Rapidity, 1 point into Umbral Embrace, 1 point into Hail of the Stars, and 2 points into Star-Lord. In row 8, we are going Waning Twilight, 1 point into Orbit Breaker, 2 points into Balance of All Things, then Umbral Inspiration, Power of Goldrin, and then Rattle of the Stars. Then in row 9, we are taking Harmony of the Heavens, Convoke the Spirits. In single target, this is going to absolutely blast. It's like 3 damage for a good amount of seconds and just absolutely pumps. You're going to use this at the start of the fight, kind of lined up with your other CDs. Then the final row, we are going Denizen of the Dream. Now to talk about hero talent. So we're going Keeper of the Grove for this one, with Dream Surge as our primary starter, then Treants of the Moon, Expansiveness, and Protective Growth. We are taking Power of Nature, we are taking Cenarius' Might, and we are taking Grove Inspiration. Now the reason we're taking Power of Nature is to make your Treants over here not taunt. So then we are taking Early Spring, we are taking Control the Dream, and Blooming Infusion. And finally, we're taking Harmony of the Grove. These are your raid talents that are going to be useful for most bosses. You can swap here and there by going on Warcraft logs, doing a bit of simming here and there, but this one is going to work for a lot of bosses. Now, normally when we do talents, not much changes between the two sets, but with Boomkin, it's completely different hero talents, a lot of different main talents, and a few different utility talents. So we are going to go through them again, so making this portion a little bit longer. Now these are mythic dungeon talents specifically for Cinderbrew, but obviously they'll work all around for all dungeons and still be pumping damage. Now of course, up first we've got Frenzied Regeneration, Starfire. Row 2, Ursoc Spirit at Star Surge. Row 3, Verdant Heart, Remove Corruption, and Moonkin Form. Row 4, we're going Improved Bark Skin, Nurturing Instinct, and Sunfire. Row 5, we're taking Thick Hide and Light of the Sun. This reduces the cooldown of our interrupt. Then we are taking Astral Influence. Then again into Wild Charge, Soothe, this dispels and rages, Renewal, defensive, and then Starlight Conduit. Row 7, we are taking Feline Swiftness, Well-Honed Instincts, Stampeding Roar, Typhoon, and Ursul's Vortex. Then in row 8, Oak Skin, 2 points Lycara's Teachings, Law of the Grove, and Innovate. Now, this is where things kind of change down here for this side. We're going into Incapacitating Roar, which is an AoE interrupt type of thing. Then we are going into Ursign's Vigor. So when you go into bear form, your health and armor increase by 15% for 4 seconds. It's great in Mythic Pluses. Then we are going into Improved Stampeding Roar, meaning we just get more of a utility speed up. Then we are going into Circle of the Heavens. Then we are going into the final row, which is Fluid Form and Nature's Vigil. As you can see, not much changes here, but a few spells down here. Now, this is where the big changes come in between single target and pure AoE. Now, on the right side, we are again starting with Eclipse. Then we're going into Shooting Stars and Solar Beam. Then row 3, we're taking Solstice. But this time, instead of taking Force of Nature, we are taking Warrior of the Elune. So the next 3 Starfires are instant cast and generate 30% increased astral power. This is great if you need to move around, dodge and stuff, or just want to flat out burst and generate some more astral power. Then we are going into Twin Moons, then down into row 4, which is Wild Surges, Nature's Grace, and then Aetheral Kindling. Then in row 5, we're going Astral Smolder. We're still sticking with Celestial Alignment. And then we are going into Umbral Intensity. In row 6, we are taking Sunseeker Mushroom, Soul of the Forest, and Whirling Stars. In row 7, we're going 2 points Cosmic Rapidity, 1 point Umbral Embrace, and 2 points into Starlord. Then in row 8, Waning Twilight, Sundered Firmament, 2 points into Balance of Things, Umbral Inspiration, and Rattle the Stars. Then in row 9, we are going Harmony of the Heavens. This time, instead of Convoke, we're going into Incarnation, Chosen of Elune. So it's an improved Moonkin form that grants both Eclipses and lead Celestial Alignment bonuses and Critical Strike. For 16 seconds, you may shapeshift in and out of this improved Moonkin form for its duration. This has 2 charges. Then we are going into Fury of Elune, and then finally Radiant Moonlight. See, so some significant changes here to move more into an AoE feel. Then in the middle, we have completely gone to the opposite hero talent. So we're in Elune's Chosen this time. Starting off with Boundless Moonlight. In row 2, Moon Guardian, Lunar Insight, and Glistening Fur. Row 3, we're going Lunar Amplification, Atmospheric Exposure, and then Elune's Grace, my bad. Then we are going into Lunar Calling, then straight into Light of Elune, and Lunation, and finally Eternal Moon. These are your Mythic Plus talents. These are going to do you well in every single dungeon. All right, so we've spoke stats, we've spoke talents. Next up, one of the most exciting parts of gearing up in WoW, and that's aiming for your BiS Gear, aka Best in Slot Gear. When it comes to gearing your Balance Druid this season, we've got some amazing options from Raids, Mythic Plus, the Weekly Vault, Crafting, Delves, but please don't stress. Gearing doesn't have to be complicated, so I'm here to make it easier for you by giving you some suggestions. Now, first up, we've got weapons. For two-handers, you're going to want to aim for the one-arm bandits drop Best in Slot from the raid. And if not, you want to do some 7s in Mythic Dungeon, you're going to want to make your two-handed staff. But maybe you prefer a main hand and an offhand combo. Look for the Big Earner's Bludgeon and then craft the Vagabond's Torch for your offhand with the Algari Missive of Featherflare for perfect stats. Your helm, chest, shoulders, legs, you're going to aim for the Reclaiming Blight tier set. So that's this season's tier set that drops some raids, your weekly vault, or you can catalyst pieces of Mythic Dungeon gear. Then we've got rings. You're going to want the Jaster's Diamond from Chrome King Gallywix. It's an absolute must-have. Then pair it with the Seer's Circlet from Siren Isle, which you can get from doing a short questline, a pretty fun questline as well, which is a 658 ring that you can gem with certain effects. Trinkets, we're going to go Eye of Kazan, House of Cards, Mugsy's Trinket, or Signet from Priory. Quick tip, if you're doing Mythic Plus or pulling loot from the weekly vault, raid gear tends to be easier to snag this tier at top item levels, so prioritize that if you can. And don't forget, you can always sim every single piece of gear you get to make sure it's an upgrade for you. In 11.1.5, we do get a new twist, which is puzzling cartel chips. These come out in the next couple of weeks, but I'm going to include it in here so you know what to aim for. Now, the Jaster's Diamond, House of Cards, Eye of Kazan, or Mug Moxie's Jug, you want to aim for them. Now, we mentioned the tier set earlier. As always, you always want to go for your tier set on every character. So the 2 set bonuses, your damaging spells have a chance to hit a jackpot, growing a wild mushroom at nearby enemy's location, activating Celestial Alignment or Incarnation Chosen of Elune guarantees a jackpot, which is awesome for burst phases. Then your 4-piece is your Starfall and Star Surge, deal 20% more damage to those affected by that wild mushroom. It's about 4 to 6% total damage boost depending on the fight, so you definitely want to get these pieces ASAP. And with lots of catalyst charges built up now, go wild with it. Just make sure you have Wild Mushroom or Sunseeker Mushroom talented to really make the 2-piece sing. I mentioned that your best in slot ring was something called the Seer's Circlet. So that ring has 3 sockets and you need to choose the right gems for them sockets. You want to go for Fathom Dweller's Runed Citron, Stormbringer's Runed Citron, and the Windsinger's Runed Citron. But then again, quick plug, always sim your character. As I said before, small gear differences can make one gem way better than the other. So we mentioned crafting earlier. Now you want to put the Dark Moon Sigil Ascension on your weapon and then pair it with another crafted item, which I have gone with the belt to put Writhing Armor Banding on to double up that effect. So all in all, staff or offhand paired with belt or wrists. So overall, the approach to gearing as a Balance Druid, when in doubt, prioritize item level first, look for mastery and haste on your secondary stats, sockets are always a bonus, and if you're struggling, always use raid bots to sim your gear. Next section, gems, enchants, and consumables. Now, the most used enchants that we're gonna have are the Chant of Wing Grace for the back, Crystalline Radiance for the chest, Chant of Armored Avoidance for the wrists, Authority of Radiant Power for your main hand. This is both Mythic Plus and Raiding. Sunset Spellthread for the legs, Defender's March for the feet, and 2 Radiant Mastery enchants for your rings. Obviously, if you're blasting in Mastery and you need a bit more haste, you can whack it into haste. Now, gems. You're going to want the Culminating Blast for Right. This is your big gem. You're going to want that. That's your main one. Then the off gems are going to be Quick Onyx or Masterful Emerald, depending on what way you have to swing your gems and stats. Consumables. So, most of the time, you're going to want to take the Flask of Alchemical Chaos. However, you can look into using the Flask of Tempered Mastery or Flask of Tempered Swiftness if you need to bring up your stats a little bit. We're always going to use Algari healing potions. They're cheap, grab them, and they're a lifesaver in dungeons and raids. We're going to be using the Tempered Potion. We're going to be using the Feast of Masquerade or the Sushi Special. And for our weapon oil, it's going to be the Algari Mana Oil. So, the final segment is rotation. Now, I always struggle to get this right when it comes to doing the classes. I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible. So this isn't a full deep dive. We're just focusing on the rotation so you can jump into dungeons, raids, or even open world and actually know somewhat what you're doing. So the core concept, your rotation in a nutshell, is keep your dots up, generate and spend astral power. Your 2 dots are Sunfire and Moonfire. Always keep these running on every target you can. They deal damage and trigger your mastery, which boosts all your other spells. After that, your job is to build up astral power and spend it before you cap out. That's where your Eclipse system comes in. So, the Eclipse system, your rotation revolves around shifting between solar and lunar eclipse. Solar eclipse powers up Wrath, and lunar eclipse powers up Starfire. Here's how to trigger them. Cast Starfire twice to enter solar eclipse, cast Wrath twice to enter lunar eclipse. You can only be in one eclipse at a time, and it lasts for 15 seconds. Think of it this way. On 1 or 2 targets, enter solar eclipse and cast Wrath. On 3+ targets, enter lunar eclipse and cast Starfire. Celestial Alignment or Incarnation puts you into both eclipses at once. That's your big damage window, and during that time, you'll just cast Wrath. Now let's talk how to spend your astral power. For single target, you're going to use Star Surge, and for multi-target, you're going to use Starfall. These spells are where the real boom comes from. So always make sure you're spending astral power as soon as you can. You never want to cap and waste it. Now cooldowns and hero talents. So let's break down a few key cooldowns based on the hero paths you're using. Incarnation Chosen of Elune, your main DPS cooldown. It boosts your damage and gives you both eclipses at once. Use it early and often. Force of Nature, if you're playing Keeper of the Grove, summons treants to fight for you. Drops Astral Power when used, so don't overcap. Use it as often as possible. Warrior of Elune, if you're playing Elune's Chosen, makes your next 3 Starfires instant. Great for quickly entering Solar or just burst AoE, even if you're not using Lunar Calling. It's a solid utility tool. Fury of Elune is an awesome cooldown that deals damage and generates astral power over time. If you take Lunation, you'll get to use it a lot more than often, since arcane spells reduce its cooldown. So quick recap for the rotation, breaking it down one more time, super clean. Keep Moonfire and Sunfire active. Use Wrath or Starfire to trigger Eclipses based on the number of targets. Stay in Solar Eclipse for 1 to 2 targets. Use Wrath. Stay in Lunar Eclipse for 3+ targets. Use Starfire. Spend Astral Power with Star Surge, single target, or Starfall AoE. Use cooldowns like Incarnation, Fury of Elune, or Force of Nature whenever available. Just don't overcap Astral Power. That's it. You're doing Balance Druid right. And there you have it, the Mythic Plus and Raid guide for Balance Druid. If you have any questions, please comment them below or come and chat to us live on Twitch. We're live pretty much every single day. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!